You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. If you are from other parts of the country, you're probably enjoying the fresh air. I mean, Prescott, Arizona is it's like the top list in the country every year of the cleanest air. So we don't have that inversion that Denver and Phoenix get. We don't have all the smog of the factory coastal things. It's just really fresh air. If you're coming from, let's say, East Coast, where it's more humid, where you've got more, it's just lower altitude. You might be your gardening internal compass might just be spinning right now. Going, what is going on? The leaves are burning, scorching. They've never done that before. What's happening? It's different. So gardening at altitude it's a whole new ball game. So I thought I'd dedicate 10 minutes just to the 5 habits that successful desert gardeners adapt to. And these are the things you should put on your mindset. And the first one's going to be the hardest for you folks from the deserts, Palm Springs, LA's, the Tucson's, the Phoenix, Scottsdale's, is the zone 7 mindset. So there's zones 1 through basically 10, 11, 12. But we are a solid zone 7. We flirt with 8, especially folks out in that Prescott Valley, Dewey, those areas. You are a zone 8. Spring Valley, zone 8 for sure. And Prescott, these areas, the higher ridge lines, you're talking Groom Creek, Highland Pines, you folks are definitely zone 7. So what does that mean? How cold can plants go before they die? That's really comes down to how much antifreeze. It's an antifreeze rating. Plants have antifreeze in them, just like your car has to keep it from overheating. Well, here it's or from freezing. This is to keep the plants from freezing to death. And so zone 7 is going to be plants that can go down to 10 degrees. We rarely go to sub-zero. You folks in Flag, White Mountains, you definitely go below 0. You need your zone 6. You're colder. But in this area, zone 7. Yeah, but Ken, I live in Prescott Valley. I'm different. No, you're not. You're the same as the rest of us. We're all at elevation. I'm in Poland. I got those wind out there. We all have wind. What are you talking about? Zone 7 has nothing to do about wind or sun. It has everything to do about how cold do you get on the coldest day in January, because that's where you're going to test the limits of how much antifreeze is in this plant. So we are a zone 7. When you're reading the plant tag here at the garden center, so you're shopping around Waters Garden Center, you go, read the tag, goes, it's a zone 6. You're good. That means you can go down below 0. I'm a zone 5. That means you can go down to minus 10. A zone 4, minus 20. Zone 3, minus 30. Zone 1, it's like freezing. That's like Alaska stuff. We don't see that. So you can go with zone, let's say 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to 1. Those are all good for you. It's when you go above your zone 8. Okay, we flirt with 8. I've got quite a few zone 8 plants in my yard. I have to protect them a little bit. I cover them, I move them around. I've got them in containers, but I can grow them. Got some beautiful fish hook barrel cactus, some beautiful just palm trees in containers. Out in the yard, not so much. Now, as you go further out to the valleys, as you drop down the hill to Phoenix, Black Canyon City, there you're zone 9, zone 10. Those plants, if you look at them cold, they will die. So a Phoenix plant will not grow up here at this elevation. It's just not going to, it'll grow fine in the summer, loves the sun, but as soon as it gets cold, checks out. So that's one, zone 7 mindset. Embrace, number 2, the 12th month garden. We aren't cold like the Midwest does. We don't have 8-foot frost. Got a buddy of mine who owns a garden center in Wisconsin. Goes, yeah, can I just come down? Let's go to lunch. I got a home down here in Sedona, basically. He's there. Let's go to lunch because I can't do anything at my garden center because of 8-foot frost line. You've got to be kidding me. No wonder you're leaving and coming down where the sun shines 12 months out of the year. We don't have that. I mean, we might have 8 millimeters, and we didn't have that last year of frost line or ice covering the top of the garden. We're mild. We get some snow. We're the mildest 4-season climate you can get, and you need plants that can take that. And what that means is it opens up your garden window to 12 months. I mean, to have broccoli for Christmas dinner, commonplace. Kale all winter long. I mean, just you can have these things. You can have flowers. I mean, my pansies were over the top this winter. It was beautiful. You can have that, but you got to plan accordingly and plant that way. So think in terms of 12 months. We've got 3 distinct growing seasons. We've had spring. That's basically March through May. We've had summer and the monsoon planting season. This is actually a peak window for planting. This is the time to put big trees and shrubs and hedgerows and privacies. Your summer bloomers like Rosa Sharons and roses, hibiscus, crepe myrtles. This is your time. And then you've got your fall planting season. It's like a mimic of the spring. It's just a long from September through really the first part of December, this long planting season. And that's when you're taking out your tomatoes that frosted on you. You're putting in your broccoli, cauliflower, lettuce, spinach, all these leafy kind of things. They thrive in that. So 12-month growing season. Then you have to respect the triple threat. This is where it gets weird. So our sun is more intense. Our wind is more intense and our air is more intense. It's fresher. It's also very dry. So if you've grown, let's say Japanese maples out in Southern California, they love growing out in full sun because you're at sea level. You've got so much more atmosphere protecting that plant. It's humid. And so up here with the wind, the sun, the dry, they wither and they'll live. The tag says grows in full sun. Oh, but they really, really struggle. If you put them in more of the shade, they thrive. They're definitely a zone 6 plant. They're going to take the cold. It's not the cold. It's the sun and the wind and the air that gets them. So your geraniums you grew out in full sun in the Midwest, here I find they do better with a little bit of protection. They'll keep that flower on there much longer if you put them on an east side. So things will change a little bit. That's where we're really planting plants that have thicker, leathery, tougher, more wax-covered foliage. So you might grow a maple in other parts of the country, the East Coast. Here we're growing Blaze or Prescott Blaze maple. It takes our wind without tearing up the leaves, takes our dry without, dropping more leaves. Yet you still get that beautiful, fast-growing fall color. And so we're changing up the varieties. You can still grow maples, but which variety of maple do you grow? There's some that are better than others, and it might be just because you grew it in Kansas City, Toto, doesn't mean it's going to thrive here, even though we're the same growing zone, but it's the wind and the sun and the air is what changes that. And then your soil. Your soil's terrible. You don't have any soil. I mean, the buddy of mine that had 8-foot frost lines, he's also got 8 foot of topsoil. I'm jealous. I don't have any. I had to recreate all of my topsoil. And you probably do too. When they built your house, they probably took a grater and just graded off anything that was worthwhile. That in the top layer of the soil, they scraped it off to put your footers and your driveway and your house in. And so you're going to have to recreate that soil in your yard. And that and your water. Oh, it's so hard. I mean, it gets alkaline like crazy. So you'll never get to 6.5, the perfect neutral pH. Our water is the enemy. The water comes out of the ground very high in pH, just more alkaline. That's something new. That's unique to this area. How do you counteract that? You just add organics, the right kind of fertilizers you put in there, soil sulfur. In other parts of the country, you add lime. Here, we never do that because it raises the pH even more. Here, we're adding soil sulfur. We're always trying to push down, make acidic, always bring down the pH. And then lastly, we do have animals. I mean, javelina, you haven't seen one of those since you've been here. So you need certain plants that aren't naturally, unless you protect them by fencing or some other way, you need to protect your plants from these wild creatures. Deer. We don't just have white-tailed deer. We have mule deer. They're like huge. They're like deer on steroids. These deer I see run down on the highways in Texas. They're cute little things. I mean, they're like midgets. Here, they're gigantic. you need to plant plants accordingly. And those are the 5 kind of things, the 5 habits you need to look for: the zone 7 mindset, the 12-month gardens, the triple threat of sun, wind, and air, your soil, you don't have any, you need to create it, and working with the neighbors, not against them. Water's garden companion plants for August are radio red salvias, butterfly bush, and trumpeting vine.
Large clusters of red and orange flowers create a dramatic show all season long with Water's trumpet vine.
This vigorous vine thrives in heat and blooms profusely with neglect.
Quickly covers large areas as a ground cover, spilling over retaining walls, screening a fence, or cloaking arbors.
Guaranteed to attract more hummingbirds, and only found at Water's Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott. For a more fruitful garden, increased success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Water's Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.